Hello, my name is Socrates, and the concepts presented may offend you. Punishment Part 2. The question, if one is to speculate on the crime, are they not duly responsible for the punishment? That in questioning justice, is not the standard of execution to which the exact punishment meets the crime. For thousands of years we used labor and torture, public humiliation and execution, the extent going from entirely menial to the most horrible ends our kind can meet with Pakistan to this day using sexual torture and rape as a punishment, leaving many to ask, when does the satisfaction from a lack of presence become reformation? Once convicted of a crime, to hold one to the suffering they caused, is that justice? Rape the rapist? Or who steals pay a fine with gratuity to the courts? In engaging the person in this topic, they whom stood trial and having been held to a crime must stand equally of due process, punishment. So while the current standard relates to incarceration in North America, the failure to hold one to suffer for their crime is left out, and to suffer for others' incomprehension of the topic lands on the forefront of punishment. If John robs a bank and loses the money, he is sentenced to 16 years for 2.5 million Canadian, and Eric is a pornographer that rapes someone. Is it exact to let John torture Eric? Or is too barbaric and circumstantial to call judicious? My discussion here today is on the topic of the panopticon, by concept. That a truly perfect prison not expensive and if handled by a federal government is not an extension of the dead causing further harm to society by institutionalization, but that in the redevelopment of this end, to some this beginning, under ideal circumstances, can create a model citizen, having made either major or minor infractions to the law. The arrest and conviction buried in the recent past, a 35-year-old fellow with more fights than Muhammad Ali lands himself in jail for assault. His sentence is for, instead of a term, an amount, the due costs of hospital bills, reconstructive surgery and rehabilitation plus lost wages and grievances all accounted for, total cost $285,000. His ability to work, unquestioned. The lesson of hurting people without cause prominent, his practical work history is short of a 25-year-old commoner. Thus to leave him to dwell in himself over years building relationships with inmates who've come to enjoy enduring sentences is no longer meaningful as a punishment. Trades, labor, psychotherapists on hands and an engaging environment to earn back the losses. Seclusion with an aspect of education inserted with all costs of incarceration paid for by the state with an expectation of student loan equivalency. The term becomes apparent as the day rack up with 1-2 days theory with 3-4 as practical use of the skill manufacturing small parts for vehicles, and as the skill continue to develop, the debts begin to dwindle until it is a 6-day-a-week work week with a 7-hour shift holding them to every day's account. The off time providing pornography and education, full internet access and monitoring used to define the statistics, each week a psychologist appointment and if needed psychiatric appointments to engage if there is a chemical imbalance that holds weight as a factor in a behavior, and the ability to rationalize a child who had possibly fought with the victimization to which he now inflicts on fellow drivers, fellow citizens, if the sentence is too low. Then to hold their actions to fall there be an alternative, gratuity sentence to the economy with an apprenticeship manufacturing goods that will be exported. Specifically under the guidance and account of a probation officer, if curiosity is piqued and there is no reasonable punishment or monitor to the person necessary, then at base a fine both for processing and any logical damage to property and the functional loss of a quality life like damaging an ape's working equipment. The perfect prison is not complicated, the perfect prison is not expensive, the perfect prison is not private enterprise. The punishment if properly executed is within reach of all governments if the willingness to adapt is present.
Thanks for listening. Click the like or subscribe buttons to support this channel.